The gentleman who joined us all last season, and we're fixing to have him on a whole bunch this year as well, joins us on the Harbor One hotline. For those of you who are watching the show on Twitch, just follow WEEI. You can see, I mean, look at this handsome devil here.
Wow. I mean, I got the Nesson crew in my background, true, as a backdrop. So it's all coming together.
That is real nice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
I think it's that Florida sun does you well, Bradfo.
Look at this, and I got my McFarlane shirt on. I got it all. There you
We knew
go.
it was only
Sharp.
Wait, I think I won the over on that, or the
all
under.
right.
To
Congrats.
how
I
quick
feel
you're
good.
gonna-
I feel good. I was here at 6 a.m., by the way. Breaking news, guys. I haven't told anybody this. I got pulled over on the way to the park today by a cop.
How fast are you going?
I was not going fast. Now I am
Tail light
driving.
out?
I am driving, as I said on the broadcast.
Down there, he's going fast.
No inspection stickers?
25 miles an hour.
As I said on the broadcast yesterday, I'm driving around in a 1994 Toyota Camry. So I thought I was just being pulled over for having a crappy car. But no, he said I ran a stop sign at 6 o'clock in the morning. But
You're like,
they
I'm just chomping at the bit to get over here to film
well,
myself.
they said, where are you going? I said, JetBlue Park. He said, who are they playing? I have no idea. I know there's a press conference. I have no idea who they're playing.
Did you get to expense that?
No, it's a warning. It was a warning because all I had to do was drop Gresh and Keefe, and there
Smart.
you go.
Oh, I was gonna say,
tuned in 11:20 today.
He gave some old cop a fruit cup or something like that, and they let you off.
Thank you, Officer Polinsky. Yes.
Bradfo, anything stand out from the Trevor Story press conference and/or your interview with him afterwards?
Oh, the Bogarts call. I mean, and I know that we knew that Bogarts had called him, but when I asked Trevor Story about, what was the thing that sort of really had an impact besides obviously the 6 years and $140 million, he said when Xander Bogarts called, because everyone else texted, this guy called, he picked up the phone, he didn't know who it was. And sometimes, I would imagine that it wasn't going to prevent him from coming here. But as well as I do, there was probably, a little bit of, I feel a little uncomfortable about this Bogarts situation. So when Bogarts calls and says, hey, welcome, I want you here, and so forth and so on, there you go. And the other thing was Chaim Bloom just saying he was at the top of our list because he was absolutely the best fit, not only for this year, but for the years to come.
And what does that mean?
Yeah.
How do you read into that? Well, because even Keefe and I were talking about it, Rob, is you've got Bogarts, and maybe he doesn't want to move off short. And then what is Rafi Devers long term? Does he just want to be a third baseman? Then you have Trevor Story. It feels like if you could just have everybody take one step to the right and Devers go to first, this thing would all fix itself. So who is the key in this sort of triad in figuring all this out?
Well, I think number one, we're going to have to see how Trevor Story plays second, which, in this day and age of the shifts, anyone can play second. I mean, Travis Shaw was playing second.
Wow.
So you have three guys on the right side of the infield half the time. But if all of a sudden you're laying there and it's like, oh, well, this Bogart-Story combination, second base, shortstop, that really works, then you get serious about a Bogarts extension. The thing is, of this day, of all the news that happened this day, after I talked to Trevor Story, I went up and talked to Rafael Devers. And I, because he obviously signed the deal yesterday, and I said, well, a lot of times when you sign these deals, you talk about bigger pictures, about bigger contracts, a big extension. And he said they still, to this date, haven't offered him a contract extension, which is mind-blowing to me. So you have to factor that in about who they're going to prioritize, Xander Bogarts or Rafael Devers going forward.
Yeah, why do you think they haven't offered him a deal? I know he's under contract or the arbitration stuff. He's got this season and next season. But again, he doesn't have to accept it, but you would think they would at least offer something. You look around the majors, anytime there's a really good player who's in his early 20s that has already broken through at the major league level, it seems like there's at least a negotiation. They might say, you know what, I want to play it out and I want to get teams bidding against me. Or in some cases, they sign early. So what do you think the thought process is there for them not to do it yet?
I have no idea. And honestly, I didn't believe it until I went back and asked him and tried to be as direct as I could. Said, so you're telling me at no point have they offered an extension? He's like, no. And you're right, Rich. I mean, the fact is, you go back, he lined up perfect with Bregman when Bregman signed his, I think it was like 5-year, $100 million deal. Maybe he turns it down, but you got to at least find out.
Right.
Because with nothing else, maybe you just buy out a couple of free agent years. It makes no sense to me, but one thing I know now is that Devers is dug in. So Devers, in our conversation, he basically was saying, hey, you know what, it was a little uncomfortable. There was some uncertainty because they wanted to compare me to other third basemen. I don't want to be compared to other third basemen. I want to go on my merits. I am different from everybody else. Look at my numbers, so forth and so on. He values himself very high, as he should, and I take that as I'm digging in, and I want to get paid $300 million or whatever it is.
Jeez.
Wow. So that sounds like it's the real problem, because with Xander Bogaerts, I'd at least entertain a $300 million discussion depending on the deal. Rafi Devers at $300 million? I don't even think I'm talking about that.
And I don't want to say, I don't know if he wants $300 million. Maybe he wants $200 million, but still,
that's a hefty check.
Right. He wants to be paid among the elites, because I asked him, I said, are you like Xander had said, he's going to monitor all these deals, all these contracts. And Rafi just was like, no, I'm not going to, because I know how good I am. I know the numbers I'm putting up, and all I'm asking is to be paid like that quality of player. And right now, the way he's trending, that's an elite hitter.
Yeah, I mean, it's just – I wonder, what are the chances – and I know, again, they're a big market team. They're always going to have a big payroll, and they should have a big payroll. But is there any chance in 2023 Bogaerts, Story, and Devers are all on the team?
There's a chance, but look at how that looks.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about what percentage of the payroll, even for the Red Sox, is that? Now, you can manage it if you have guys coming up, but the problem is the elite guys you have coming up play the same positions.
Yeah.
I mean, they play the same positions. So you're talking about Story at $140 million. Like, I got to imagine Bogaerts wouldn't even take the Story deal right now, even though he's a month and a half different than him and relatively the same sort of offensive player. So I just can't imagine they're going to allocate that much money to three players.
And that's why I'm like surprised that Chaim Bloom would say Trevor Story is the perfect fit, because first of all, he's not a second baseman.
Right.
So you already have a shortstop. And then when you get into the future of the team, one of your best prospects is a second baseman. Another one of your best prospects is a shortstop. And then you still have to decide whether you're going to pay the left side of the infield. So to me, I like the player, but by no means is he the perfect fit.
No, but you know what? And Chaim Bloom would never say this, but it doesn't take a big leap of faith to say a big part of that fit is, well, if Xander leaves, we have our shortstop until Marcelo Meyer gets here in 3 years.
Yeah.
So that, to me, is when he says a perfect fit, that's what he's talking about. I think anyway. At least you have that option, you have that leverage, which really you didn't have before. You had no bridge between Xander Bogaerts when he left and Marcelo Meyer at all.
Rob Bradford of WEEI.com, and you, of course, catch him occasionally beside Joe Castiglione on Red Sox baseball.
Which Joey C. the Big Cheese.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I'm glad I gave you guys some content.
I mean, I don't know how WEEI.com has now not done the career retrospective on Joey C. the Big Cheese.
Oh, my goodness. So good. So good, right? So good.
And really the thing that stood out, and Rich was all over this right away when we heard the audio, is that the radio station that he worked for wouldn't do new imaging, so he had to go by Bob Russell.
Bob Russell.
What the hell? That's unbelievable.
I only know him by Bob Russell. And by the way, you guys can weigh on in, because we had this conversation yesterday on the broadcast when Will and I were doing. We're trying to we have to get a nickname for Will now, right? So I like the
Long
big Bob.
Shanks.
I like Longshanks.
It was from Seinfeld.
I like
they called Kramer.
I like the suggestion Big Bunny, because there's evidently a big Flemish rabbit thing going. So it's the Big Bunny.
Google the Flemish rabbit
or Big Steak. Flemings.
Big steak.
So,
Big
steak.
I know.
He doesn't look like he's eating one though. I love Will, and we can see him in the
reflection.
Call
a bald guy Curly, right?
Well,
so
there you go.
It fits perfect.
It's like my dad's friend Tiny, who was 6'8".
Well, I know that Sean McDonough tried calling him Flemball for a while.
That's just...
We could probably...
I think we got to take it to another level.
We can go somewhere else.
Now that we have Joey C., the Big Cheese,
That's true.
This is what spring training's all about.
These freaking Flemish rabbits?
Yeah.
Look at the size of that thing. Come on.
I like the Big Bunny. I like the Big Bunny for a nickname.
Looks like a German Shepherd.
It kind of does.
That's enormous.
I want to pet that guy, though. I'll tell you that.
Bradfo, I still have an issue with the outfield on this team. I feel like they have one every everyday outfielder. And I know not every team in the league has 3 everyday outfielders, and there's platoons, but it feels like I like Verdugo, and Verdugo should play a lot, but I'm kind of underwhelmed with everybody
You don't
else.
think Verdugo's an everyday outfielder?
No, I just said Verdugo's the one guy. He's the one guy.
I thought it was one of these things like I like him personally, but
No. I'm saying I would like 2 everyday outfielders. 3 is
you don't think
super great.
so? You don't think Kike Hernandez is an everyday outfielder?
I don't.
I mean, he's one of the best defensive center fielders in baseball.
I think he's too streaky at the plate, though. Like, I don't know if you want his bat in there 150 games.
Well, and now that Story is here, is he just a full-time outfielder?
Yes, and
Right.
he's which is fine with me because I think he's defensively he's one of the best guys out there. And you make the argument that he isn't as consistent offensively as you want. That's fine, but I do agree that they're short a guy. Yeah. They're short a guy, and they're talking about playing JD out there against lefties, and you can have someone else DH. You don't want JD to play out in the outfield if you don't have to.
No.
And listen, let's see how Christian Arroyo plays out there in the next couple of weeks. But they don't have anyone to replace Hunter Renfroe, who, by the way, was a really impactful guy for them at times. And right now, Jackie Bradley just isn't that guy.
Yeah, go ahead.
No,
I stunned you.
No, you did. I was going to go in a different direction. You threw something in there in the end. I'm like, I got to go somewhere else.
Well, Jackie,
6-0 so far. Are the Red
my
Sox?
goodness.
I mean, what do you
look out?
What do you read into the results? Maybe more importantly, Rob, sort of what are some of the things you're hearing down there, just in terms of the success of this team and what they want to get to over the next couple of weeks to be able to get to opening day?
They're all talking about the lessons learned from the 2007 Patriots, how you better lose a game before the big game comes around.
There you
right?
go, baby.
There
That's
you go.
right.
So,
you don't want to be undefeated. 161-0 would be a real problem.
Well, you have to lose a game at some point, but it's and you guys remember this going back to I think the Tito Francona the last couple of years. They had terrible records and they played terrible at the end. You just want to play well. It does not matter about wins and losses. Oh, guys, I mean, the guys that are running out there, innings 6 through 9, believe me, it does not matter. It does not matter. These are the guys that are defining the game, whether you win or lose. Yeah. And by the way, Rusney Castillo would have been like a inning 6 through 9 all-star right now. Yeah, but it's more about how you're playing. And right now, they're playing pretty well. I mean, the pitching has been pretty well. You just got to stay healthy. To me, they have the pieces to do well right now, especially with Story. You cannot have another injury in the pitching staff. That's the biggest thing.
Who's the closer, you think, to start the season?
I think it's probably Whitlock, but it's going to be an evolving thing because you can't just say Barnes because he was so bad for the last couple months,
right?
And and you have Diekman out there, you have Brazier out there, but Whitlock is he's the guy that you would say, okay, you know what, go out there the last two innings of a game and lock it down. So yeah, I would say him.
When are you on the call next?
That would be tomorrow. So
right.
I am.
Are you with
supports?
You with Joey C, the big cheese, or
the big bunny,
the tall big bunny, long shanks, tall drink of water?
Yeah, who am I with tomorrow?
Oh my God!
I'm with the big bunny. So
you're running stop
right
signs. Who am I with? You're
listen,
You're morphing into an old.
Welcome to spring training. But I do programming note though. The people should go check out all the interviews. Chaim Bloom's going to be on, and Sam Kennedy and me and everybody else. So go online and check those out. So
at WEI.com.
They're on the internet.
WEI.com.
You can
find them on the internet.
At
Brad.
So we're on the internet.
I love it.
Bradfo on Twitter.
Yeah, but it's a lot going on today. So yeah, all good.
Very good.
All right, Bradfo. Thank you, friend. We will talk to you soon. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. I'll talk to you later.
There goes our guy, Rob Bradford. Now